The wind that morning carried the scent of rain and lilies, the kind that reminded her of her son's laughter echoing through their old home. Amelia Grant adjusted her black coat as she stepped out of her car, the cemetery gates creaking open like an old memory calling her name. She had been here countless times before, yet every visit felt like the first, raw, suffocating, and quiet in a way that made her heart feel too heavy to carry. She walked slowly through the rows of polished stones, her heels clicking against the cobbled path, the sound echoing faintly in the damp air. In her hands was a single white rose, the same kind she used to tuck behind her son's ear when he was a little boy playing in the garden. "Hey, sweetheart," she whispered when she reached his grave. "It's Mom again." Her voice cracked slightly, but she forced a smile, the kind of smile she had learned to wear in boardrooms, even when the world inside her was collapsing. She was Amelia Grant, CEO, philanthropist, one of the most powerful women in the city. But here, standing in front of the small gravestone engraved with Ethan Grant, beloved son, forever 10, she wasn't a businesswoman. She wasn't a businesswoman. She was just a mother, broken and longing for one more hug.
Pause for effect.
Before we continue, take a moment to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness for more heartfelt, real-life stories that touch the soul. Amelia knelt and placed the rose down, brushing away the few raindrops that had gathered on the stone. "You'd be so proud, Ethan," she murmured softly. "Your mom." She finally made it. Her eyes shimmered with unshed tears. "But it doesn't mean much without you." She closed her eyes, letting the silence fill the space between her words, until she heard it, a soft sob. At first, she thought she had imagined it, the way grief often played tricks on her mind, but then she heard it again, a child's quiet whimper and a woman's broken voice speaking. In Spanish. Amelia turned her head. A few rows down, beneath an oak tree, knelt a woman in her 30s with dark hair tied loosely, her clothes soaked from the drizzle. Beside her was a little girl, maybe 5 or 6, clutching a small teddy bear. The woman's shoulders trembled as she cried into her hands, whispering prayers in Spanish that Amelia couldn't quite understand, but she didn't need to. Pain was universal. Amelia hesitated. She had come here to mourn in solitude, but something about the woman's sorrow drew her closer. Slowly, she walked toward them. "Are you okay?" she asked gently. The woman lifted her face, eyes swollen, voice trembling. "I'm sorry," she said, her accent heavy. "I didn't mean to disturb anyone, I just—" She broke off, choking back another sob. "My husband, he's here!" Amelia's gaze drifted to the gravestone in front of her. It was simple, freshly carved Carlos Alvarez, beloved husband, devoted father. The little girl looked up at Amelia then, her eyes wide and filled with confusion. "My papa's sleeping," she said softly. "Mama says he's with angels." Amelia knelt, her heart twisting. "Yes, sweetheart," she said tenderly. "He is, and the angels are taking good care of him." The woman managed a fragile smile. "Thank you," she whispered. "It's just hard. We moved here only a year ago. He was working construction, an accident." "I'm so sorry," Amelia said quietly. "No one should have to go through that." The woman nodded, wiping her tears. "You come here often?" "Yes," Amelia said. "My son, Ethan," she pointed toward the small gravestone a few rows away. "He was 10. I lost him in a car accident 5 years ago." The two women sat there in silence, the rain softly tapping the ground around them. It wasn't the kind of silence that felt empty. It was the kind that carried understanding. Grief, recognizing grief. Amelia glanced at the little girl again, who was now drawing shapes in the wet dirt with a stick. "She's beautiful," Amelia said softly. The woman nodded. "Her name is Sophia." Sophia looked up and smiled, a small, innocent curve of her lips that reminded Amelia of Ethan's smile when he used to surprise her with handmade cards. "Would you like to come with us?" the woman asked suddenly. We always bring lunch here on Sundays. It helps Sophia remember her father. You could join." Amelia hesitated. She had never shared this sacred space with anyone. But something in the woman's tone, gentle, inviting, human, made her nod. They sat beneath the oak tree, sharing simple food, bread, cheese, a few slices of fruit. The kind of meal that tasted like warmth in the middle of loss. As they ate, the woman told her more, about how they'd come from Spain chasing a better life, about the accident that took her husband, and about how hard it was raising Sophia alone. Amelia listened, really listened, and for the first time in a long time, she didn't feel like a woman trapped behind success and sorrow. She felt like a mother, one who understood another's pain. As the sky cleared and sunlight broke through the clouds, Amelia reached into her purse and pulled out a small photo of Ethan. He loved drawing, she said, handing it to Sophia. He always wanted to make people smile. Sophia looked at the picture with awe. He looks happy, she said. He was, Amelia replied softly. And I think he'd like you. They stayed for hours, and when it was time to leave, the woman, Maria, as Amelia learned, hugged her tightly. Thank you, Maria whispered. Today, I didn't feel so alone. Neither did Amelia. Over the next few weeks, Amelia found herself returning to the cemetery not just to visit Ethan, but to meet Maria and Sophia. They would bring flowers, share stories, and sometimes just sit in silence. Sophia began calling her Tia Amelia, and it melted something inside her that had been frozen for years. Maria, in turn, began working part-time at Amelia's company, not because Amelia offered her charity, but because she saw in her a strength that life had tested and refined. The two women became unlikely friends, bonded by grief but connected by hope. One afternoon, as Amelia watched Maria and Sophia laughing in the office courtyard, she felt Ethan's presence, not in the haunting way it used to be, but in a quiet, peaceful one. She whispered to herself, "Maybe this was your plan all along, wasn't it, kiddo?" The wind seemed to answer with a soft rustle through the trees. Before we end, don't forget to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness, where stories remind us that even in loss, compassion can bring new beginnings. Months later, Amelia stood once more at Ethan's grave, but this time, she wasn't alone. Maria stood beside her, holding Sophia's hand. The little girl placed 2 roses on the ground, one for her father, one for Ethan. "Thank you for sharing him with me," Sophia whispered to Amelia. Tears welled in Amelia's eyes. "He'd be happy you're here, sweetheart." As they stood there, the sun dipped behind the clouds, painting the sky with soft gold and amber. The wind carried laughter, faint, almost imagined, but real enough to make Amelia smile. Because in that sacred moment, surrounded by love born from pain, she realized something profound. Grief doesn't end, but it can transform. It can open doors to unexpected connections, healing the heart in ways we never thought possible. And sometimes, the angels we lose guide us straight to the people who need us most.